Today marks 55 days since this parking garage under construction in Grays Ferry partially collapsed. 3 ironworkers were killed and the remaining structure was demolished. The NBC10 investigators brought you exclusive new details about the contractors at the center of the tragedy.
And joining us now to discuss is NBC10 investigator David Charnes. Glad to have you with us this evening. So there were a lot of new developments in your story. Tell us what you found.
So what's really interesting about this is this happened back on April 8th, right? It was a huge event. You guys covered it for months before I started here a couple of weeks ago. What's really interesting about what we found here is that the city actually issued violations to 2 companies involved with building this parking garage, this child parking garage, the next day or in the weeks afterwards. So these records, the records we found are for violations for working without a valid license, hiring an unlicensed subcontractor, and failure to upload what's called all subcontractors, basically a list of everybody who's working on the project. There were some fines issued, $1,000 to the company called Precast Services. They're the ones that we believe provide some of the decking, some of the concrete decking that comes pre-made that then we saw in that stack there. And they were issued a violation for working without a valid license. Unclear exactly how it's all related, but the building company that we got a statement from did say that it is tied to the parking garage collapse. So this is basically a list of violations that show that the city inspectors found something wrong. Unfortunately, we can't exactly know what they found. That should come out in the next couple of months. But it does show that the city was on site there, obviously, and they issued these violations.
And that they had questions as well.
Right.
So tell me what comes next in your investigation. I know this is a massive investigation. The mayor said it would take months, but what are you looking for next?
Right, and just to tell you, being there yesterday, and that was the first time I had been there, it's really odd, right? I even said to my photographer, this is where it happened, because when you look at it from our helicopter, it looks a little different than being there on the ground. They have it kind of fenced off. Obviously, this is a memorial site. I mean, 3 people died there. Yeah. And you would never know it was supposed to be a parking garage because there's just really a concrete slab. What's next is the mayor ordered an investigation of her own. Sure. We expect that to get to her in the next couple of weeks and hope to then see it. And then the federal government, OSHA, is doing their own investigation because you have so many different builders, 2 companies that I just talked about that got these violations. And they're doing their own investigation. So we right now are really trying to figure out what went wrong, right? What can people working on this project tell us? What can neighbors tell us?
I should say, David, you are new to our team.
Brand spanking new.
You are so new. You've literally been here weeks. And it's, I think, probably really important that this was the first story you decided to tackle. Yeah. Why did you decide to take on this story first?
Well, I think when these big news events happen, right, our gut is to go. And I was here while you all were covering that story, actually looking for a place to live. I was hired here at NBC10, but I wasn't on air yet. And you guys did such a fantastic job, not only trying to hold our stakeholders and our leaders accountable with what we knew, and you were in some of those stories, but also trying to get answers for our community. And these big things happen, and as journalists, I think we're just drawn to it. And there are so many questions about how did this happen? Why is the city now telling us that these people were unlicensed? How can a concrete deck like that fail? And how can 3 people lose their lives? Right. And any answers we can get is what we're going to be working toward.
It's so important to reiterate that this was tragic, that 3 iron workers are no longer here, that there are families that are suffering as a result of what went wrong. So I look forward to your future reporting, and welcome to the team, David.
Thanks so much.
And for a timeline of events surrounding the deadly parking garage collapse and the new developments in the investigation, you can go to NBC10.com or tap the free NBC10 app.